Hello, and thank you for joining us for episode 5 of Push to Plat. I thought I'd just take a moment to explain to you, the listener, how our structure is going to work for today and the following episode next week. We've decided today to split the episode, so you'll hear myself, Unknown, and our wonderful guest talking about what we've played this week, the news of the week, and of course our spam games. Then tune back in next week to hear our topic of the week, all things guides, with the wonderful The Mind is a City. It will be your chance to discover the mind behind the mind.
It's time for Push to Play, your weekly trophy podcast and all things PlayStation with CJ and Unknown.
Hello, welcome, and thank you for joining us. Episode 5 of Push to Plat. This week we've got an exciting show for you. We have our guest, Mindy, guide writer extraordinaire. My co-host, Mr. Unknown, of course, returning. A question this week, what we've been playing, the game releases. We're going to touch on the Sony State of Play, and then we're going to get into our topic of the week, which will be all things guides. We'll also wrap out with a little bit of spam of the week, and hopefully we can find something for you to play in amongst the spam for this week. So, my co-host Unknown, how are you doing this week, sir?
Doing pretty good. How about you?
Yeah, look, I can't complain. I don't know where the week has gone. It just seems to have flown through. I'm not going to use the work excuse because we've used that like 3 weeks in a row, but I don't know. I don't know where time is going. But I've got some holidays coming up in a few weeks, so I'm I think anticipating the time moving forward. Has anything exciting been happening this week for you?
Nope. Not at all.
Well, thank you for filling that gap there. So why don't we introduce our guest, The Mind is a City. How are you today?
Hello, I'm good. I'm getting over a cold, so
Not a problem. Well, thank you for carving out some time and joining us today. So I'm going to refer to The Mind.
Thanks for inviting me.
Not a problem at all. I'm going to refer to The Mind as a City as Mindy for this episode. It's just a little bit easier, so just so we clarify that from the beginning. So, Mindy, can I ask you, can you just give us a little bit of like your gaming history, if you like what you do, what you play, all that sort of thing?
Yeah, well, I started playing on my. I'm gonna give away my age here. I started playing on my older brother's NES, original NES. I was knocking out I really liked the Castlevania series, Mega Man, those kind of
CCG Mega Man.
platformers.
It's a popular thing.
I did. Oh, I just remembered. I probably shouldn't have brought that up.
No, you
I
should.
have been
Should bring it
listening.
up.
I
CJ, for some reason.
I have been listening, and I remember making a mental note because I knew I was coming on in the future, and I remember saying a mental note. Oh, don't talk about Mega Man. And
Well,
I've already
I don't want to
messed it up.
sidetrack. I don't want to sidetrack, but being Unknown has already jumped at the gun there, which doesn't surprise me. I would just like to put out that I have done 4 stacks of Mega Man or Metal Gal or whatever it is. It's a very enjoyable game, and I can I'm prepared to retract my statements earlier about Mega Man. I think it's fantastic now, but please carry on.
Well, I did play my brother's old NES. My first console that was mine was the Super Nintendo. And at that point, I was playing mostly JRPGs. So, Final Fantasy. If it was a SquareSoft game, I was playing it. That's when I moved to PlayStation because Final Fantasy VII came out on that, and all the JRPGs were coming out on that. I never actually owned an original PlayStation. I don't know. Unknown, you might remember this, CJ. I don't know if you can relate, but Blockbuster in those days used to rent video game consoles.
Yes, they did.
You would go and you would give them like $100 or $200 as a not a down payment, but like insurance that you weren't gonna rip them off. And then you rented the console for like I think like $20 for a weekend.
I don't know. I never actually rented one. I know it was an option.
I did. I had, for as much as my parents hated that I played video games, I guess it kept me out of trouble or whatever. So my mom was pretty cool, and because $200 was a lot of money for me. I was however old I was, and I didn't have a job because I was I couldn't have a job. So I would save up my allowance or odd job money or whatever for the actual rental, but mom would put down the deposit. That's the word I'm looking for. And so what ended up happening for the mostly the PS1 era is I would buy whatever games I wanted, but I never owned the system. I would just rent the system. And then by the time the PS2 came out, I got a PS2 on launch day. Because at that point I was 16. I got a job, saved all that money I was bagging groceries, saved all the money, bought the PS2 on launch day, and that was my console for quite a while. Actually, I didn't get a PS3 until I want to say a couple of years into the system. Definitely was not a day one purchase for me.
Can I just ask, sorry, just to go back there, you said you rented the console, the PS1 console. So do you rent it for like a week, or did you like long term? Like how was that? Like a long term rental, or just like a week type thing?
No, it was the way it worked was like I said, you put down a deposit and you could rent it for like 3 days.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It wasn't like a lease. It wasn't like you give them money and say, okay, I'll bring this back in a month. It was a proper, like, I'm renting this on a Thursday and you will get it back on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, I had a bunch of friends that would do that for like birthday parties. They'd rent like multiple consoles out and stuff. I never did it myself. I mean, I got a lot of games from Blockbuster though. Like every week, I would rent something else.
Oh, that was the best. There was at one point there was one that moved that opened close enough to my parents' house that I could bike there, and so I would bike there every days because when they were done with videos and video games, more importantly to me, they would dump them all, these old rental copies, into sale bins, and you could buy them for next to nothing. This was back in cartridge days, so I'm until very recently a retro game collector. So and thankfully, I know a lot of people do care. I never particularly cared about having for the cartridge games. I never really particularly cared that I had the box and the manual and the game. I just wanted the game. And so like I got my copy of Soul Blader at Blockbuster for like $10, and it's worth a lot more than that now.
It's such a different time, isn't it? I mean, I imagine some of these games are worth a lot more. Yeah.
Well, how many retro games do you have? If you,
Oh
it's,
gosh,
like a collection. Just approximately.
Oh, a lot. A lot.
It's like all systems, or just like specific ones.
It was because, like I said, the Super Nintendo was mine, so I kept all of those JRPGs, and of course, many of them are worth money nowadays. NES, I kept all the Mega Man games, so I had 1 through 6, which is nothing to sneeze at. I think 6 is now worth more than 5, but for the longest time, 5 was the one that was the most expensive. I might be thinking of the Game Boy ones, but I had all these Mega Man games because I was really into Mega Man for a while. So like I had all the Game Boy games, I had all the X series on Super Nintendo. Castlevania was another one that I got all of the games. And it was more a matter of, and thankfully I was never one of those people that said I want every game on this system. Like a lot of retro collectors will say, my goal is to get all the games that were ever released for the Nintendo or the Super Nintendo or the Genesis or whatever. I was never like that. My collecting was I want this in my collection because I enjoy it, or it is related to something that I
Mhm.
have enjoyed, and I think I would enjoy it. You know what I mean?
I think that's the line. Yeah, I totally understand. I think that's the line between collector and hoarder, isn't it? A collector actually, sets some
Yeah.
boundaries or whatever. A hoarder just gets everything or wants everything. I think.
Well, I think a hoarder is just you just never throw anything away, no matter
Well,
what.
yeah, but I mean, you'll buy anything in like anywhere related to that item or interest. It doesn't necessarily have to hold value,
Mhm.
immediate value, like you're saying. So yeah, no, that's very cool. I was just going to ask, do you have like an emulator, or do you have these systems still? Like, do you ever play any of these older games, or are they just in the collection?
I did. I still have my Super Nintendo from when I was 12 or 13. It's discolored now as they tend to be. The Nintendo died.
But it still works.
It still works.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Knock on wood, it still works. It's been about 2 years since I played it, but it still works. Nintendo died ages ago, and I never quite got around to replacing it. The Genesis.
Well, I've heard with the Switch they're not completely dead, but I take your point.
No, I think I ended up selling the Nintendo for parts. Like I think I actually took it into to someone, and they were like, "Yeah, this is not fixable."
That or they just wanted the system.
Well, yeah, but at that point, I was more focused on Super Nintendo and PlayStation, so I was like, he gave me some money for it, so for parts.
Jumping forward to sort of today, the PS4, Vita, late PS3 era, or whatever else.
Mhm.
Do you play all the systems still, or are you sort of mainly PS4 now, or how do you sort?
I do. It's funny. I kind of said that 2019 was going to be the year that I finished, because I'm kind of in my backlog, because I have so many games that I bought and I have not played, that I said, okay, 2019, I'm going to finish up games that I wanted to play on the PS3, and then I'm going to pack my PS3 away. That's it. PS3 is done. And yet we are about to head into April, and I haven't touched my PS3, uh, which is
I haven't touched my PS3 very much in the last like 2 years either.
no bueno. I have been. I think the last time I played my PS3 was probably October, so it's not like I've been ignoring it for years. It's just I made the decision back in October, November, to really focus on it in 2019, which I have not done. Clearly I'm good at resolutions.
Well, you sound like a trophy hunter.
I do love my Vita. I love my Vita more than Sony ever did. Um,
Gosh.
when it came out, I was working at GameStop. I was working at a video game store, and this demo unit, and I thought, oh, this is the coolest thing. They've probably learned from the PSP, which I also own, by the way. I just hope that they learn to support this longer than their first go at a handheld, and don't just turn it into a port machine. Well, I don't know. You know what happened to the Vita, and it makes me sad because it had a lot of potential, and
Mm.
they dropped it really quickly. And I think it's because they thought they were going to topple Nintendo, and you're not going to do that, not with a handheld. And they just weren't happy to come in second place there.
That's right. I still don't understand that either. I mean, if the Switch has showed nothing else, it's shown how eager and ready people are for a handheld, gaming. I mean,
Mhm.
just when you're working, when you're out all the time, it's just so much easier to have your progress with you or carrying over. So I am surprised that I understand the power limitations of handhelds and things compared to the fixed consoles, but the success of the Switch just goes to prove, I suppose, that there is definitely demand for it. It's just a matter of how you go about doing it.
It does, and it's interesting because I did mention that my SNES and PS2 days, I was firmly JRPGs, and I have found, I don't know if it's an age thing or what, but I have a lot less tolerance for playing JRPGs on a console, but I will get down with a JRPG on a handheld, and I don't know why that is. I I really don't. Like I got like Secret of Mana. Mana got the PS4 re-release.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, that's cool. I'd be excited to play it again." I haven't played it since the mid 90s because I'm old. I got it on PS4 and it's just been sitting here. And then they recently released it on the Vita and I'm like, "Oh, yes, that is my jam. Let's do it on the Vita." It's the same game. This is a game that in my teens I would happily, because there was no handheld, but I would happily, sit down and play it on a console. But now I'm kind of like, well, I would much rather play it on Vita, and I honestly do not know why that is.
Would you play it like shorter? Like, I don't know where you play your Vita. Do you still play your Vita like right next to your PS4 anyway? Or is it more so a fact like you just do it in bits and pieces as opposed to playing it for like 8 straight hours or something?
It depends on what I'm playing. Yeah, and it's at first I thought it was, so I can, because I can multitask, so I can play my Vita and watch TV. But it's just as easy for me to play some. I do it often. Play something on TV and have Netflix running on my laptop. So it's not really that either. So I don't know what it is. Yeah, it's the weirdest thing. And of course, for a while I said, oh, I could just remote play.
Does yours not work anymore either? Also,
Oh no, I was it is starting to lag, I've noticed. I haven't done it for a couple of months though.
I haven't even been able to connect. I mean,
Really?
yeah, Nitro told me something to try, and I haven't tried it yet. But it was ever since first I thought it was because when I moved like about a year ago, I wasn't able to do it, and I thought it was like something maybe up with that. I don't know because my internet is so much better than it used to be. I don't see why that would be the issue.
You got me paranoid now, man. Maybe I think I'm gonna try to remote play something when we're done here in 6 hours.
It could be 6 hours at this rate. I don't know. Yeah, but look, I think it's very sad. It sounds to me like the Vita is just slowly dying. There's just parts of it falling off, and your remote play is gone by the board now, and soon the screen won't come on, and you'll just be playing it.
Well, my screen barely turns on as it is. Mine's on life support right now.
We need to be careful here, Mindy, because if we give Unknown a chance to start whinging and complaining, he'll definitely take it. So we should keep moving on. And yes, the Vita is what it is. So that is fantastic. And the only other thing I wanted to ask is, what sort of trophy hunter are you, sort of now? Like, should we label you? Would you label yourself?
I was actually thinking about this when you were talking to RD about it last time. I wouldn't flat out call myself a trophy whore because I don't play everything, but I have played a lot of junk. I'll fess up to that. But I try to strike a balance of stuff I actually really want to play, and I am happy to see all of these, green and blue letters on my PSNP card that say that I did everything.
Yes.
I'm more completionist. If it is at all feasible, I want to get that 100%.
Oh, you're much like Unknown.
And if I don't think I can, I play it on an alternate account that.
Oh wow! Yes, yeah.
Played on the CJ-esque account.
The CJ or the Ike account are available if you ever need to add a game to it. But yeah, I don't understand that. But anyway, that's a topic for another time. So let's move on then to a question for this week, and it is we'll start with you, Unknown. What is your guilty pleasure game? What game do you play that you don't tell anyone about? You don't stream, perhaps. You just sort of play in the corner quietly. Do you have a game like that?
I don't know. I mean, I play some like card games, like Eternal Magic, Shadowverse, and stuff like that. I don't know if you call that a guilty pleasure, but
is there any sort of game like that you could recommend in this card game sort of vein?
I don't know. If you don't like card games, you wouldn't like any of them. So.
There you go. So once again, Unknown, not endorsing any product, as you can see. Mindy,
he's trying to be Switzerland, man. He's just neutral.
He's very neutral, isn't he? Yes, yeah. Uncommitted. I like it. So do you have a guilty pleasure game you return to, Mindy?
I don't know. I was thinking about this because someone else did ask me this a little while ago,
Mm.
and I used to have an answer, and for the life of me, I can't remember what it is. But I would say, I know it's terrible, but I can't help it.
Yes.
Like, I love it so much, and I honestly, I can't remember what it is. And I'm kind of going through my trophy log right now, and I'm like, was it a PS3 or PS4 game, or is it older than I think it
Yeah.
is? I just don't know. I get the sneaking suspicion it's actually a Super Nintendo game.
Mm.
And I don't know what it is.
Mickey and Minnie's Haunted Circus. Sleeper hit that everyone's heard of.
I will say, however, I play a lot of Picross.
Yes.
I have a 3DS. And I have probably 10 different Picross games on it, just downloaded, not counting the 2 cartridge games that came out on the DS. And sometimes I'll play nothing but Picross for days.
Did you ever do like the? I used to do those books like that you use like pencils for. Oh my god, those are so messy. I had like a box.
I
full of
don't
them.
think I've ever seen a Picross book. I used to do a lot of logic puzzles, like with the
Yeah,
grids,
same
and it's
here.
like, if Susan is from North Carolina, then contestant number 5 is green.
Yeah.
One of those things.
No, I was just because like before it was like on DS and stuff like that. I would just do
Mhm.
these books and like with like lead pencils color in things, and then I just like put the side of my hand on it accidentally and just like smear like
And smear everything.
all everywhere over everything.
It sounds like a guilty pleasure, Unknown. I think you did have one.
Are you left-handed?
No,
Oh.
but sometimes you can't do like you can't like go exactly from left to right because you gotta
Mhm.
fill in the middle a lot of times, but wherever there's big numbers, but
Oh, that seems like a good answer. I don't know. Do I have a guilty?
Your time to confess, CJ.
Yeah, well, I mean, mine's not really a big surprise. I think mine would be Final Fantasy 15. I just think it's fantastic. I mean, it has
it
nothing.
is a surprise.
It is a
I
surprise.
thought it was 14.
Oh no, I do
Yeah,
like
I thought
14.
you were gonna say 14.
Yeah, I'd probably put more hours into 14, but just that's the nature of that game, I think. But no, 15, I've played it like multiple times on the PS4. I've played it on the Xbox now as well. And I mean, it just has Noctis in it. It's just fantastic, obviously. And it's great. I like it. I know most people like that game too. So, I mean, I'm not talking about the DLC and all that sort of stuff because I haven't really bothered with that, but just the base game, it's fantastic. I think it has a lot to say. It has a great story. And as I said before, if you played it at launch, it was one game. If you played it, a year later, it was a different game again. And if you played it now, it's even different again because they keep adding things and changing cutscenes and everything. So it's a fantastic game to keep dipping in and out for myself, I think. So shall we switch across to what we've been playing? So why don't we start with you, Mindy? What have you been playing this week?
Well, I think I mentioned earlier I've mostly been backlogging it.
Mm-hmm.
So recently, and I peppered in kind of some quick platinums
Mm-hmm.
on the side, but recently I played The Council,
Yes.
that episodic kind of alternate history kind of adventure, kind of Telltale-esque adventure game with kind of light RPG elements in it.
Is it so Telltale that you can just put your controller down for?
No. You would put your controller down because there is a lot of dialogue. A lot of the game's conversations. That's one of the main conceits of the game is navigating your way through conversations with these people. But there is, actual gameplay in there. Like I said, there are RPG mechanics. You do have to explore, especially if you want the platinum. You do have to explore a bit and actually figure some stuff out and allocate your skill points towards certain traits, whether you want to be, sneakier or more diplomatic or things like I'm trying not to spoil stuff. Things like that.
It's interesting. I don't know if you followed up on it all, but it's by the developers Big Bad Wolf. They're a French developer, so I mean, I suppose you would loosely, as you say, put this in the Telltale category. But what was interesting about this is this was sort of their first project of this nature, and they came out. I don't know if you know at the time because it has been the episodes have been dropping quite sporadically. It was quite a long time in between, but they did come out originally and offer it at a full price game. So it was really taking on Telltale at that time, and this was before all the issues with Telltale, and showing that that's obviously what they felt they needed to make the game. And I find that interesting now
Mhm.
that they have finished it. I think there was some concern as it went on towards the end, maybe the game would never finish. And I know the trophy list. I mean,
Like what's that one? Blues and
yeah,
Bullets, that one that's never going to be
yeah, they
completed?
just lost it. But I mean, maybe you could attest this because I'm really not sure here. But my understanding is the trophy list it's very like front game heavy. Is that correct? So the last few episodes, there's not as much.
It is, yeah. So the only trophy you can actually miss is the one for leveling up to level 15, and that one's going to carry you through the whole game.
Mhm.
I think literally like half the list is just from the first episode and various branching paths you can take. And
Mhm.
then the rest of the episodes, there's like 3 or 4 trophies apiece, and it's just complete complete part 1 of chapter 2, complete part 2 of chapter 2, complete part 3 of chapter 2, complete chapter 2. And that's the rest of the list. I thought that was kind of interesting. It's easier to keep track of, but it's also interesting that they put that much effort into, and I get why they did it. They needed to make the whole thing look attractive, but it's not like, what was it? Like The Walking Dead season 2 where the trophies were added on as the episodes came out. You knew the whole list when the first episode came out.
Yeah, I think they've been doing that a lot more recently, though, where like the game will come out and the whole list will show, and as opposed to like year 1 or 2 of Telltale, where they wouldn't like it would only show that episode or up until the point they had.
It sort of makes you wonder, I mean, thinking about sort of stuff in hindsight, maybe it's not surprising Telltale got into the troubles they were if they were going, almost, from one project or one episode to the next, as opposed to a game like The Council, which I agree with you, Mindy. I think it was definitely sketched out. I've played the first like a couple of hours, and I'm sure. I mean, I haven't seen the ending, but it's definitely story heavy, and it seems to. I mean, I could possibly be wrong, I suppose, but
It is story heavy. I will say I generally liked it. I like the idea of it more than I liked the final execution. It does suffer. I'm not going to spoil stuff, but it does suffer from what is sometimes known as indigo prophecy syndrome, wherein you have a game that has a lot of potential and promise in the first half and completely blows it in the second half for whatever reason.
It's a David Cage.
So I really liked the first 2 episodes of The Council. Yeah. Maybe it was the first 3. And then the back half I wasn't angry, but I wanted to be angry at some of the choices that were made. But in its defense, it does have like 6 different endings based on what you do over the entire game, and these aren't kind of minor window dress. My biggest problem with Telltale was always that their choice and consequence system was all window dressing.
Yeah, no matter what you did, you always end up the same spot. Yeah,
it didn't matter. It actually did matter, and I really liked that.
So like you're in like different locations and stuff like that, even.
No, you're still in the same place. You're in this manor on an island. That doesn't change, but how things turn out in the ending, whether certain people live or die, whether certain people help you or don't help you, it doesn't all boil down to what you did in that final episode. It really does carry over, and there's no little reminders that say like, oh, George, because these are all historical people, or most of them are. It doesn't say like, oh, George Washington will remember that. It's just you have to kind of say, oh, did I just screw this up? or not. There's no indication that you've just screwed up or, oh, you just did something good. I like that. I like that a lot. So I think good idea, good outline, questionable story decisions, flawed execution. I would like to see more of what these guys do.
Yeah. Well, it definitely sounds like I mean, they may grow from strength to strength from this project. So, and what they learn. But yeah, exciting. What else can you throw at us?
What else? I played the Shapeshifting Detective. I know that came
Oh, it's
out
fantastic.
last year, I think, year before.
Mhm.
I have a soft spot in my heart for FMV games. They're all terrible, and I love them. They're even the good ones, and there are some very good ones. I know I never played it, but I know one of the Wing Commanders was like an FMV game, or had a lot of FMV cutscenes that were very good because they had a budget. I think it was Wing Commander. I don't know. That's not my genre. Gabriel Knight 2 was an adventure game that came out in the 90s by Sierra. Questionable acting, but very good game. High budget. But the Shapeshifting Detective, it's cheesy, and as far as I can tell, it knows it's cheesy, and I absolutely
I
loved
think it
it.
really leans into that, doesn't it? Like it doesn't try and shy away from that at all.
I think it does. Yeah, I think it was trying to play it, unless I completely misjudged it and they were trying to play it seriously.
I don't think so.
I loved it. It's cheesy and it knows it's cheesy, and I had a lot of fun with it. It was developed by Deveki Studios, which also did another FMV game called The Infectious Madness of Dr. Decker, which I haven't played yet. But it was published by Wales Interactive, that is publishing all these FMV games like The Bunker and Late Shift. Did you ever play either of those?
Yeah, I've played those.
Yes, yeah. Late Shift I thought was very good.
And I'm hoping we're starting to see kind of not a full on resurgence, but like people remember that these games are cheesy and lean into it accordingly, but still make them. Because I would like to be proved wrong, but I do not think you can make an FMV game and not have it come off as cheesy.
No. I thought, I mean, you said you haven't played the Dr. Decker game yet. I think this is a good direction they've taken with the Shape-Shifting Detective. With that Dr. Decker game, there's a lot of, you really need a keyboard as well. And a lot of the questions you have to type sort of in. There's a lot more comes from you. And again, I'm not sure how deep the game is in its understanding. It possibly does funnel you back anyway to their questions. But I thought with the Shape-Shifting Detective, I much prefer having the options there and not, I can't even remember, but I don't think there was an option to even type things, was there? You picked from what?
No, it's entirely question based. So you go talk to someone, you've got question options on the map to buttons, and that's that. Last things I played recently, I because y'all are bringing it up, I did play Liar Princess. I played that back in February. I did like that a lot. I thought it was very charming. And then giving the Vita some shout out love, I played Nightcry.
I've heard about this.
Which is the successor, spiritual successor to Clock Tower. If you ever played those games,
what are they?
It's a survival horror series, where the focus is more on hiding instead of actually battling monsters. Things like,
so we're talking like 2D pixelated things, or
well, no. It depends on which version of Clock Tower you're playing. There's usually like a scissor monster. That's kind of the iconic. Silent Hill has Pyramid Head. Clock Tower had the Scissor Man, and he was just this in the first game. The first Clock Tower game on the Super Nintendo was actually a point and click. Believe it or not, it was a point and click survival horror adventure game. Then it continued on PlayStation. The third one was on PlayStation 2. I can't remember if the second one was on PlayStation 1 or 2. And those were more what we would call survival horror today. Kind of running around the open area, searching for clues, trying to figure out how to get out. But, solving puzzles. But whereas in games like Silent Hill, you can actually find ammunition and fight back. You've got limited ammunition, but you can fight back if you choose to. You don't really get that in Clock Tower. The protagonists are usually women, and they are scared women, so they don't really fight, which is a whole another discussion.
Are these Japanese developed games or Western developed?
No, they're Japanese.
Okay. Yeah.
So the guy, and I'm blanking on his name. The creator made a he started a studio called Nude Maker, and I think he kickstarted this game, and I wanted to like it. I can see where he was going. Maybe it's better on the PC, but it's just loading screens everywhere, and it's and nothing kills a scare, man, like loading screens. You know, if I run into a room and there's a loading screen, I'm ready. I know something's about to happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it really takes you out of it, doesn't it?
It really does. And you know, and maybe that happened in the Clock Tower games. It's been a really long time since I played them, and I'm, you know, maybe my rose tinted glasses are on.
Yeah.
But I feel like the console ones were a lot more immersive.
Yeah. No, I can understand. There's one more game. It's just it's a couple of weeks ago, but I just wanted to ask you about it because I see that you played it, The Pillars of the Earth. Do you remember? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
How did you find that?
Yeah, that's a point and click. That's a proper point and click. I've actually had that for a while. That came out in like 2016, something like that, 2017.
Yeah, it's been out like 3 years or something like that.
It's Daedalic, and I like Daedalic Studios. They make a lot of point and clicks. They made the Deponia games. If you like, let's see, they made one called Silence, which is a gorgeous game. If you do want to play it and you care about platinums, you need to buy the disc from England because the platinum is glitched and unobtainable on the digital versions, and they never patched it.
It has I've only played 5 minutes of it, I think, but I really like the art style.
It's gorgeous. It is absolutely gorgeous. It's a you know, apparently it's a popular book series, like a German, I want to say, book series. I've never read it. It's kind of one of those high fantasy things with like Game of Thrones, where it's like 600, except no dragons. Like it's realistic, but it's one of those high fantasy things where it's like there's like 600 characters, and it's more about the politics and the relationships between the people instead of whatever's actually going on. And I have always been terrible at that. Like when I was younger, I tried to read the Wheel of Time series.
Oh, Robert Jordan.
Like 5 times. Yeah. And I couldn't do it. I'm so bad at keeping track of 600 characters. Like there was even an index in the back of my book, like labeling who was who compared to, and I still couldn't do it. I was like, oh, I really tried.
What a fantastic! You didn't finish it, or you didn't? I mean, this.
Oh, I did. No, I did.
Yeah,
I did.
What a fantastic series! I remember the first book, The Magician. I think it was. I think that's the first book.
Oh, I'm sorry. You meant the Wheel of Time. No, I didn't finish. I read the first 2 books, I think.
Yes, they were massive books. I was quite young at the time, but I remember they were massive books. Yeah. And then they have a reference to Shaitan in that as well, the Latin word for devil. So that's where I derive my name from, my PSN name. So it's funny that you mentioned that. I didn't know that was going to come up. But yeah.
You learn something new every day.
Look, you do.
Yeah, but if you like that kind of thing, Pillars of Earth has a gorgeous art style. I'm sure the story is good if you like that. I got kind of bored. It's about, you know, they're in the 1600, 14 or 1500, something like that. And it's all about this church that they want to build. But really it's about, you know, she's the daughter of the ruler of the neighboring kingdom, and they're at war with this other kingdom, and this guy is the outsider who is, you know, raised outside of society, and you know, this guy is a monk who's questioning his faith, and this guy is a monk who's involved in politics, and you know, it's one of those kind of things.
Mm, mm. Yeah, no, interesting. Yeah, I really enjoy. I'm looking down your list now, and I do. I like the idea of a lot of what you play. I don't finish a lot of what I've started a lot of what you've platted, but there's some great narrative games there. So I think yeah.
I will say
fantastic.
Pillars of Earth is one of those games that it's interesting, and I don't know why they do this, but it's one of those games that because it came out on Xbox One and PS4, and the base list is the same for Xbox One and PS4. The DLC that came out for it was free. It was just free via patches.
Mm-hmm.
The Xbox One version had a full list for both DLCs with, missable trophies and stuff. What they did for the DLC in the PS4 version is they took out, like, let's say there's 10 trophies for each DLC pack. They took out 8 of the trophies from each DLC pack. And I don't know why. Sony does this sometimes, and I don't know why.
That seems to be quite common.
Another good one is that Agatha Christie game. They took out like 3/4 of the achievements that were in the PC and I think the Xbox version of that game, and then put it up on the 100% list, and I don't know why.
What do you think, Unknown? It almost sounds like the Xbox players are...
It almost sounds like Metagal, doesn't it?
No. I was just going to say, it almost sounds like the Xbox players are getting more of a full experience, perhaps. They're getting the better deal. Do you think?
Well, yeah, that was I saw that weird too, because it was like, it was like in chapter 1, you got like a plat even in Pillars of the Earth, right?
Yeah, the base game is just the first book, which is like 8 chapters or something like that, and the first DLC pack is book 2, which is another 8 chapters. So it takes you just as long to do it. No, not just as long, a little less, because you don't have to set up missable trophies. But it's not like you blow through the DLC in 45 minutes. It's still going to take you a couple hours to get through the book. Yeah, it's weird. I do remember. You remember a couple years ago, it was like Xbox or Microsoft said they're like these weird number values are stupid. Every game needs to be 1,000 gamer score.
1,000, yeah.
I think Sony needs to do the same thing. Like, but I don't know if it's like every game needs to have a platinum, or let's not remove achievements for no reason. Like I see no rhyme or reason to this, and apparently there's some sort of scoring system that no one knows, and it's like it determines the value of a bronze trophy versus a silver versus a gold, and that's some number.
No one will talk about.
It's some number. You get a platinum. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just at this point they could just do whatever they want, it feels like. I mean, it seems like we're getting more plats than we used to.
That is true.
The percentage of the ratio of plats to 100%, heavily favoring plats right now. It didn't used to be that way, but
we're also getting more games as well. That's a lot of games. Unknown, what have you been playing this week?
I played some more word search.
I have played
done.
that.
30.
I like how much you're complaining about it. I have played that.
Is it as bad as I make it out to be?
I mean, you gotta like word searches, man.
Well,
you probably should have checked that out first before you started.
Well, I should have. But like,
I mean, the title doesn't give it away at all.
Word searches. I really like puzzles, like word puzzles and logic puzzles and number puzzles. The thing though with word search and like Sudoku, they're so, I don't know, I don't want to say like repetitive, but it's just like scan through the list and look for the word and like then go up and down the columns. Same with Sudoku. Add the things left or whatever method you want to go do it, but it's just, I don't know. The other ones are more like, I don't know, they're more relaxing or whatever. These ones are just repetitive. Even though the other ones are kind of repetitive too, because I'm at the point in the other ones where it's just like, I just do it, like it just happens. Like I see things and recognize patterns. I'm like on autopilot for them mostly. But these, I don't know. 300.
Would you like me to just record this bit you're saying now about word search, and we'll just play it every week for the next 6 months until you finish it?
I'll finish it this weekend, I think.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll talk about it again next week. I look forward to it.
Well, I was also doing it
Excellent.
without a guide mostly, so it was taking me a lot longer than the 1.5 minutes or whatever that you would probably.
It sounds like you might just want to look up a guide and just be done
Yeah, I
with
could
it.
finish in an hour at this point. I
Time
think.
to move on. Yeah. Anything else? Surely something
Glass
else.
Masquerade.
How about a weekly update for Kingdom Hearts 3?
It's
Yes.
prepped. It's gonna be like the last update until I say I got a plat because it's done. All I gotta do is go into the Caribbean and hunt some crabs, break some boxes and get crabs in like 10 minutes. It's done. But yeah, all the treasures, all the cooking, all the.
I tell you what, that's not a statement you'd hear a lot with Kingdom Hearts 3, is it? I've just got to get some crabs and then I'll get back to Kingdom Hearts 3. I mean, wow. It's just not something, Anyway, it doesn't matter. Moving on.
Well, I was thinking what to save. I was trying to figure out a trophy to save, and the problem is if I'm saving a trophy, I don't want it to be some like thing that requires a lot of like the last collectible or something. I just don't like to do it because in my mind I'm just thinking, well, what if something goes wrong here? Like I either mess something up or my trophy, I lose all my data or something. My PS4 crashes. I got to play the entire thing again, get all the collectibles again.
Yeah.
I would usually save something like you could do like almost right away, something in a menu or something. But I didn't really have that because everything just built off of each other basically, or at least I was to that point. So
this is going to be plat 1500. Is that correct still, or has that
that's
changed?
The plan.
Oh, so yeah, you're going to hold on to it for a while.
Yeah, I'm coming up on 450.
Oh,
I've picked out my milestone for that. It's going to be a surprise. No one cares, but it's going to be a surprise.
I was going to ask you what it is, but I guess not.
It is kind of exciting for me. I'm coming up on trophy 20,000. I've got about 250 trophies left, and I need 4 more platinums till I hit 450. And again, I said I like Castlevania. So Castlevania Requiem came out, and when the platinum was titled "What is a Man? A Miserable Little Pile of Secrets." Boom! That was going to be a milestone. And then when I realized I was coming up to 20,000, I said, "Oh gosh, I need something." And I think I'm going to go for the Undertale plat, not because I'm this big Undertale fan, but more because the platinum title is "Don't You Have Anything Better to Do?"
Yes, yeah.
Which
I did that for 250. That's a perfect name. I think,
isn't it?
It is. It really is. Because then the next couple of weeks, everyone you speak to is just they're congratulating and also feeling bad for you at the same time. It's fantastic.
But I don't mean to take over. Unknown, you were talking about Glass Masquerade because I do want to play this, so I want to hear about it.
Oh, it's well, basically it's just puzzles, but with mosaic pieces. I have one issue, which is when you're trying to solve the puzzle, the pieces you try to put in they just look too big. Like they just visually look like they're not gonna fit in places, and I don't know why that bugs me, but it's just like I'll just try a piece. I'll be like, "There's no way that fits there," and then I'll just try it, and it'll be like, "Okay, that made no sense whatsoever." There's not very many puzzles, and
is it like a bad aspect ratio, or is it?
It's just weird because I think what it is like when you put a piece in, sometimes it'll like outline or it'll have like this outline, this like golden outline at times, and I think you're supposed to act like the golden outline is the edge of the piece or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to explain it. I'm always amazed when I try to put some giant piece in this little hole, and I don't know.
I think that the depth perception is sometimes out in that game a little bit. I think that's what does it. Is the piece looks bigger because it's above the puzzle on some of the pieces.
Maybe that's what they.
I don't
maybe
think
that's what
bad.
it is. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's definitely not bad.
It's definitely not unplayable.
It's mosaic tiles and stuff, so it's a little harder than a normal puzzle because you'll have these two colors that don't even like look like they go together at times. Yeah, it's not like even with using a guide for it. I guess it would help you, but without using a guide, it's still probably only gonna take me like 4 hours total.
The funny thing about that game, I don't know if you've got that. I see you've got a few of the gold trophies. Is so the gold trophies are for like following the line in the country to the
Oh
end.
yeah, it doesn't make sense because you'll go on a path and well, it'll be weird because you'll go into a path and it'll be like 5-star, 5-star, and then the end of the path, like the dead end, it goes down to like 3 or 4. Makes no sense.
So some of the last puzzles are easier than the first ones. Yes, I don't know. But,
Some of the pictures I don't even know what they are, but I'm sure it's because I'm not culturally aware of Madagascar, or whatever.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it is. I mean, there are depictions of the stained glass windows in churches around the world, so it's quite.
so they are actual churches.
They are, yeah, an actual
Oh.
thing. So yeah, it's quite relaxing.
I guess that makes sense.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty relaxing.
Yeah. Anything else? you'd like to-
I played the Japanese Conan Outcast, which we're getting free. Well, the English one we're getting free apparently next week.
Oh, that's the plus game this month, right?
Yeah, one of them.
Hmm.
Just odd. 'Cause it's just pure. I'm thinking a lot of people are just going to use that debug more so than actually play the game.
I did.
Yeah. I don't blame you. I don't think the world is very fleshed out in that game anyway. I think, I don't know. I think you.
No, it's pretty bland looking.
Yeah.
The game is huge though. I had to delete delete a bunch of stuff to put that on there, even from the disc. Well, the disc it just like loads it on. You have to download it from the disc or something, or install it. But
I have a question. I'm going back in your log a little bit. Tell me about Samael Legacy of Ophiuchus. Isn't that one of those like famously bad, like
Yes.
Life of Black Tiger? Like, why is it on the PSN?
Elder Scrolls 6 Alpha.
Can I just ask how short? Can you pronounce that again for me? Is that okay? Could you?
Me?
Yes, please.
I think I'm probably wrong.
No, I was
so
100%
probably
wrong
should
when
know.
I said it, but I just like your pronunciation.
Is it Ophiuchus?
Yes, See, I said Ophicus when I read it, but I was clearly wrong.
I don't even say that part because I don't know how to pronounce it. I just say Samael.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, we'll move on. I mean, yeah. So sorry. Please tell us about that game. Unknown.
Yeah, Ophiuchus. I don't know, whatever. But you just run around, like you spawn into this like I don't know, circular area. Well, it's fairly large. You run up to some enemy, hold down L1 and hit R1. I think is what some button. Like you hold down block, and then they can never hit you while you're attacking them. And they also mislabel monsters.
That's fun.
A Kraken looks like.
But you've got to remember, this is a one-man team. This is a game made by
he could
one
at
person.
least look up if he's unsure of what a well-known monster looks like. He could at least Google the thing or something.
It's true. Well, I think the more exciting thing is, as we know, Microsoft have been going around buying up all the talent and studios, and now Google's entering the playing field, poaching leading devs as well. So I think for Sony, it's really exciting because it's leaving these sort of one-man teams, out in the open to, maybe sign up in the future. So, maybe a hot tip here, but this guy could become a first-party studio, I think, off the back of a game like this. Well, how do you feel about that?
I think Stadia is going to be a Stadia exclusive as sequel.
You think he'll sell out to Google?
Yep.
Well,
Is this and I'm probably wrong, but is this the same guy who developed I can't remember the name. It's some other game on PS4 that had a bunch of stolen assets on it.
Yes, it's the same.
Or is that
same
someone
guy.
else?
I think it's possibly the same game with a new
what
name.
game were we talking about?
His first attempt.
I can't remember.
I forget what he called it, but the problem with that first game was that
it had like stuff from Uncharted 4, I think, in it, and like whole landscapes just ripped out of the game.
Yeah, it didn't have the glitch though to beat the boss in the first game. So
we're a third-person shooter.
No, it was basically exactly the same style of game, like an open world.
Uncharted was a third-person shooter.
Oh no, he just took the assets from it, from different games or whatever. Yeah. Well, I'm not sure whether I assume they would have been copyrighted, but more possible, maybe not. I don't know how that works.
I'm gonna Google this while you guys are talking.
Yeah, I mean the problem with that game was that it didn't have the hold L1 or whatever else, so you couldn't die, and then also the monsters had insane health. I was reading that one of the battles could take like 6 hours or something of just continually firing an arrow, and
Didn't test it.
No, I read this guy's comment that he'd spent 6 hours to beat it, and I was like, wow. You'd think somewhere along the line, maybe at the 2 hour mark or the 4 hour, you'd just stop, wouldn't you? You'd be like, no, this is enough.
If it didn't have a health bar, actually at that point, even if it had a health bar and I was doing that little, I would probably just assume that this is ineffective and I'm not making any progress. And I would try something.
I don't know, but yeah.
Reminds me of my Ursula in Kingdom Hearts 2 experience.
What I find bizarre about that game, like this week there was a game called War Tile. Now this game came out about, I'm going to say a month ago, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was even longer. And it's a top-down board game, like a sort of a D&D type game, animated.
Aren't most board games top-down?
Well, sorry. Okay. A side view, you could say whatever. So it was actually, I picked it up, and it's very deep. There was a lot in it, or whatever else. Now, admittedly, I put it to the side because there's a lot of reading in it as well. I thought, I may come back to this. And I got a message the other day on the PlayStation saying Sony had released the game too early. We apologize. We're going to take it from the store and your account, but we'll give you a full refund. And the reason given was sort of like it's too early and they're still working on it or whatever else. And that, and then when it comes back out, you can buy it again if you want or whatever. So, it's fine or whatever. But they do stuff like that.
How do you accidentally release a game early?
I don't know, but they do stuff like that. So quality control on that side of it. But then they let games like, this one we're talking about here just go through. I mean, maybe more time would not have helped him anyway. Maybe he was finished with the project, but I don't know. Yeah, it seems interesting.
Maybe he gave up.
Yeah, well,
moving on.
That's right. He's counting his
whatever money it makes. It makes.
That's right. Yeah, could be. Yeah, that's quite.
So I think I have an answer. I think the game I was trying to think of was Soul Brain Night of Darkness.
Oh yeah, I heard of that one. The incredibly impossible plat.
And he also has, which I don't think is on the store anymore.
Yeah, I think they removed that too.
Possibly because of that. But he does have another one up called like the Spear of Kaiseki or something like that. I think that one's still up.
Well, I mean, if you have the time, I'd recommend checking out the trailers for these games on the PlayStation. He does make a good trailer. Maybe that's what he just focuses on in the future. A bit all for it. And maybe not worry about the game behind it. But the trailers are high quality. Yeah. Anything else unknown that you want to throw out there? Or...
that's mostly it. I played some VNs, and what about you?
Oh well, what did I?
What did you fail to play this week, CJ?
Oh, easy. He
succeeded in playing it. However, he did not make it past the tutorial.
Well, continuing on with my love of Peasant Night, I decided to move on to the Metal Gal. And as anyone who listens would know, I'm not a massive fan.
I did play Peasant Night. That game made me mad.
That's
but
great,
please
isn't
continue.
it? Yeah.
Oh no, it made me mad.
Not as mad as Metal Gal's list makes me.
Well, at least there's a little bit more in the Metal Gal than there was in Peasant Night. Not much more. Probably about 5 minutes more. But I mean, if you finished it, I'm sure there's quite a lot. But for the trophies, it's very easy or whatever else. So you could knock off 4 plats there in under an hour if that sort of thing interests you. Still be in a fairly good mood. There's nothing frustrating in the game at all, except for maybe there's this weird trophy where you can't skip the beginning. So that's probably the longest part of the game. Actually, you have to watch the intro. You can't skip it, or they won't give you the trophies. But aside from that, it was good. What else have I been playing? So I made a misstep this week. Most definitely, I bought this Xenon Racer, which is a lot more difficult than I anticipated it to be. In fact, one of the trophies is impossible. I think the time trials are too tight on one of the tracks. I see no one's still got it, and it looks like all the hardcore racing gurus are on it, so it's obviously very difficult that. But it's a futuristic car racing game. It came out at full price. Again, it's in line of a PS3 game on the PS4, so it's 2 weeks in a row. It doesn't look great. The draw distance is not good enough in this day and age for a racing game at all. So it should be a budget price title, and I'm sure it will be. But that aside, it does have plenty of races. It's got some tracks. The online seems to work fine, or whatever else. But if that game interests you, I would definitely recommend looking at a trailer before you, or some gameplay footage before you pay full price. I didn't play a lot other than that. More Division too. I don't know. Are you? I know Unknown is uninterested in this. Are you uninterested in these sort of games as well, Mindy? These looter shooters?
I'm not good at
Yeah.
them. You know, my wheelhouse is kind of puzzle games, platformers, third person
Mm.
shooters, point and
Mm.
clicks. First person shooters, a lot of stuff that's is Division first person or third person?
First person. Yeah.
It's first person, right? Yeah. I'm
Oh,
terrible
sorry.
with them.
Third person. Yeah, you can. I think you can be first person. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
is
it
it
is.
third person? Maybe I'll check it out. I was never too interested in Tom
Yeah.
Clancy. But like I like Far Cry a
Mm.
lot.
Mm.
Basically, if I can play it on easy, because I am terrible for, I'm good at, I'm pretty good at third person. For whatever reason, if I can't play it on easy and do everything, I'm not good at it.
Yeah, no, I can understand. Well, I don't know. This one may not be for you then, because it is. I was mentioning last week. It is definitely more difficult than the first division. I think they've definitely. I mean, you can. I've been playing it all in single player, so it is possible, but it's more frustrating because obviously, if you go down, there's no one to res you and bring you back. It's much easier just with one other person because then you know that you're not going to potentially lose whatever progress you made in that little section or whatever if you get swamped or if somehow they flank you or something. But I mean, it's great. I just throw out one thing. Like I tend to play a lot of these games by myself. I prefer that to listening to people, whatever in the mic as well and stuff. But I was playing along, and you have the option to. It's very seamless to, like, if you're running into a mission that's difficult or a side mission or you think you're going to be in trouble, of basically putting up almost like a flare, which means that anyone around you. If they want to come and join your group and help you in effect for that sort of thing, you don't have to talk or whatever else. And you don't know if anyone will. You just keep going and maybe someone will come and spawn or maybe they won't. And so I was playing along and I haven't used the feature too much, but I used it the other night and this guy just jumped in. And I won't mention his username because I don't want to cause him any flack, off me or anything else. But we sort of started, we did this little side mission, which would have taken 5 minutes. And I was like, okay, thank you. Waved at him or whatever with the emote. And I thought, we'll just go our own way now. And then I noticed he was following me. And so we started doing stuff together, just like the random things. And then we did some more side missions and stuff. We probably played for like 2 hours together like this. And, there was no no verbal communication or whatever, but we were clearly working as, a group or whatever through the things. And the whole time I was sort of thinking, wow, this is really cool. Like, I suppose this is nothing new to people that play these sort of games a lot, but I just thought like this is, fantastic or whatever. And then we got, like, I never use the emotes in these games. I can't be bothered trying to learn the button pushes or whatever you have to do for them. But at the end, I was like, I'm going to look up how to do a little salute to him, because I was getting late. I wanted to get off. And so I did a little salute and then I disconnected. And I always feel it's a very abrupt way to go because you don't type anything, you're just gone. So but whatever. And
you didn't let him try to salute.
Well, no, I waited for a second. No, he was clapping. You can do this. It's fantastic emote. You can just clap. And the clap is great. Because,
yay, is he just going
well,
away?
if something goes really bad and there's a smart ass in the group, you can bet you can look around. He's going to be clapping, So the clap is the best emote in the game, definitely. But but the salute, I think that's a mark of respect or whatever else. So, anyway, the next day I was thinking about this, I was at work and I was like, I really enjoyed that session with this guy. I should maybe send him a friend request. And then I was like, no, that's a bit stalkerish. I should probably not do that, and whatever else. And then, I don't get messages or whatever during the day from it. So I came back the next night and I noticed that he'd sent me a friend request. So there you go. He must be as bad at shooters as me. And yet, we still, and yet we still have this, I don't know, this sort of experience, I suppose. So I don't know, maybe as I said, if you play a lot of multiplayer games, this is probably nothing new to you. But, if you're more of a single player sort of gamer and you, that sort of, that idea of that level of interaction is enough for you, you don't want the verbal and all that stuff, then maybe this game is something to check out. And, maybe you'll meet people from it because, I don't know. I mean, who knows? He may turn out to be, humoring me along the way, but or maybe not. But it was a really good experience. So I'm definitely enjoying that game. And then the only other thing I'd give a shout out to is the Grand Tour game. We're getting close to the end. There's only 2 episodes.
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up because I wanted to ask you about it because I'm bad at racing games, but I love Top Gear and I'm seriously considering doing this because I love Top Gear and the trophy names are a lot of fun. Yes, I want to hear about
the trophy
this.
names are fantastic.
Don't you get the whole, like, the deal with this? It's kind of weird. It's like you get the episode, like, not the game episode. You get the game episodes, but you get the actual episodes of the show with it, right?
That's correct. Yeah. Yeah. So you can. I mean, that's a big advantage for us here in Australia because I think the show's on Amazon, or it's an Amazon Prime show or Amazon show.
It's Amazon Prime, yeah.
Yes, that's not a big thing. I'm sure that's quite a big thing in the US, but not a big thing here, and quite expensive to get that. So, if you don't have it, to just subscribe for that show would be a burden. Whereas this way, you buy the game, and it's very reasonably priced. I think like 20 Australian or 25 equivalent in whatever that is in US, and you get all the episodes as they release each week, and then you also get the game. And the game is sort of the episodes or parts of the episodes, and then you do the driving at sort of each of the end of the segments, whatever the challenge is. So there's enough replayability that you could watch the episode as well, and there's some different stuff in it. But it's sort of there's a nice cross between, if you like. So, I quite like to do the game part first and then watch the episode maybe a day or two later. But, I mean, you could, do either or none, or just one or the other.
So, kind of bringing this full circle, kind of like a big budget FMV game.
Well, very much so. Yeah. Yeah. With I mean, you're familiar with the show, so it's got their humor in it. It's got the, it's got the studio audience that I'm not sure what their purpose is, other than to smile, or whatever else. But
actually, guilty secret. As much as I love Top Gear, I have yet to watch the Grand Tour.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I don't know if I'm just worried that it'll be too different because it is different. You get the same guys. That doesn't mean it's not going to be different.
Yeah. I think there's more.
I do, but I have on my car. I have a sticker of the Stig on the back of my car, and when people ask me about it, the majority of people say, "Oh, do you ride a motorcycle?" But every once in a while, I get someone who says, "Is that the Stig?" And I go, "Yes, it is. Thank you."
Welcome to the secret club. I like it. Yeah, well,
pretty much. Yeah, pretty much.
Well, you may like this. The Stig is obviously gone, but they have their professional driver is Abby this time, a female professional race driver that does most of the time trial stunts and things like that. Obviously a fantastic.
That's not like a character. Like that's actually her name is actually Abby. You see?
Yeah, no, she's a real person.
Like the mass driver.
I mean, they do in the game. You don't ever see them digitized. So obviously, you're driving a car. You can't really see anyone. But no, she's a real person in the show, and it's her driving the car in the segments. And not all of them. Yeah, it's good. I'm just trying to think. It also has the Richard Hammond, the crash, the infamous crash. Where he almost killed himself for a second time.
Which one? He's crashed like 4 high-speed cars.
This is
Are you kidding me?
The VMAC car. It's an unbelievable car, just so fast. Super electric car.
I actually feel kind of bad. Is that the one that put him in the hospital for a while?
Yes, yeah. So it's not that one, the drag. Oh, sorry, we're getting totally distracted. But it's not the dragster racer that was like a rocket basically with wheels. This is a proper supercar. But yeah, it was the end of a mountain track, and he just flew off the side of the track, and the car exploded. In fire, and he was in hospital for a couple of weeks, I think, from that. Yeah, so insane, but the car is unbelievable. But yeah, I mean, digressing. But yeah, I would definitely recommend the game. It's a funny game. Like the AI, overall, it's a very easy game. There's a couple of challenges where I think the AI has not been tweaked correctly, particularly one in the first episode. I don't know if they ever went back and fixed that, but it can be absolutely brutal to win in that you really need to drive them into the side of the road and then get away from them, because it doesn't really matter how far ahead you get. They always seem to catch up. So you sort of have to
super rubber bandy.
Yeah, in one or two, and there's a couple of like the just the drag races where you can't really beat them. So you're best off just to drive like at the start, to drive right into their wheel, and then basically go sideways down the track for the 100 meters. So there's little weird things like that, but it's very small overall, very easy. And you get there's a little DLC pack, so there's tons of trophies for each episode as well, if that sort of thing.
I gotta say, it is the weirdest trophy list I've ever seen, because the base list, to get the platinum, you have to finish, or you have to do specific things in all of the DLC packs, and yet there are still DLC trophies that are not required for the platinum. It's so bizarre.
It's very, and it's sort of, I mean, everything is a little too much. Like they're clearly, they're experimenting. I hope they do this again. I think it's successful. I like it. But I mean, these things like, use the elephant race 25 times or use whatever 25 times. It's not going to ever come naturally, that sort of thing, because you might get 1 or 2 uses of them in the episode if you're lucky. So this would only come in free play afterwards. And I mean, I don't know, like it would be a lot of racing to get those. So, I mean, the workaround obviously is you just drive to the spawn point, park your car, and you just keep recycling the spawns until you get 25 of them. So it doesn't take that long. But but to do that naturally, would take a lot of time. So I think some of the numbers are out. I think the winning the 50 races is a little bit excessive for each character. I mean, I can't see that happening naturally, but it's not a short plat, probably 20 to 30 hours, I suppose, when it all comes out.
I don't know. That seems reasonable to me, but that might be because I platinum Friday the 13th, where you had to win.
Yes.
You had to win. What is it? 1,000 matches as Jason, and 1,000 or 2,000 as counselors.
Yeah. No, this is nothing like that. Yeah, that's a massive.
Yeah, I platinumed it, and you better believe, because that game's an auto pop, you better believe I auto popped the other version.
Oh, is it?
After all that work?
Okay.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool if you put in the time, and it is a time sink. I had a lot of late nights with some people in Europe. That sounds really bad. Just boosting match wins, basically, because it takes about probably 50 matches to get everything else done. Maybe 100 matches to get everything else done, and then you've got, it is 1,000. So and then you've got 800-900 more matches to just match. Meet up with Jason, let him kill you, or whatever. It's all tied to your online ID. So if you get so there's a European stack and a North American stack, and so if you platinum, like I actually ended up playing the European stack first because it was on crazy sale, which is good because then it was later a free PS Plus game, so bonus for me. So that's the one I platinumed, and then when I got the North American stack, what you do is you go in and you do one of whatever needs to be done for the trophy. So so it's not like a real auto pop, but so for the I would go to one game and let Jason and as Jason and kill a counselor, and I would get the trophy for killing one counselor, for killing 100 counselors, for killing 1,000 counselors. Anything related to that, those would auto pop. So it takes about, I think the longest amount of time is you still got to get a group of 8 people together to kill Jason for that trophy. Yeah, after all that work, I'm like, yeah, I got 2 hours. Let's get another platinum out of this.
When you're grinding the matches, though, how long does it take to do a match?
It depends. Are you boosting or are you properly playing? If you're boosting, you'll spend more time waiting for the match to start than the match will take. The best way to boost it is to play, because you can't skip. There's an intro movie to the match and there's an exit movie to the match, and you can't skip it. So that really gets tiresome really quickly. Can't pack an ack, and you almost always spawn right next to the lodge. So you just run to the lodge, Jason kills you, match is over. Probably takes twice as long just to watch the intro movie, watch the exit movie, and wait to get into the next round than it does to actually complete the round.
Yeah, even if we're talking like 5 minutes a match, that's still...
It's super boring. It's super boring. I'm not going to pretend anything different. Super boring. Had a lot of conversations with people, watched a lot of Netflix. Yeah.
If you're not interested in the plat, though, that is actually quite a fun game. If you're just playing it for
it is
fun.
It is fun to play. It is fun to play legit. It's just not a fun platinum to get legit.
No, not 1,000 times. I can imagine.
I did play it legit for a little while, and then I was like, all right, let's just do this, because I have a sneaking feeling, because I do like Friday the 13th as a series, and I am somewhat, familiar with the kind of the legal battle about exactly who owns the rights to what. And so I said, I just got a feeling about this, that it's not going to be around very long. And I was partially right. It's still around, but they're just not updating it anymore because they can't.
That's right. That is a legal nightmare, isn't it, going on with that game? I remember reading about that as well. Yeah. Well, I think that game is safe from unknown and myself for platting, but yeah, I would not have guessed that you would have platted that game or found interest in that game. So there you go. We
Twice.
Learned.
Yeah, I think it's populating the entire rare trophy column on. Yeah, it is.
Yes. Well, that, I
It's
mean,
populating the entire rarest trophies column on my PSNP page.
yes, yeah, I imagine almost all those trophies in that game would be of that nature. Yeah. Well, look, I mean, we've been playing. That was even better than last. I think that is our best, actually, unknown for the amount of time we spent on what we've been playing. So we're getting better at this. Well, maybe worse, depending on your view of it, or whatever else. Shall we go across to the new games releasing?
Sure.
What are we doing with the reading here? Should I put out a threesome idea last week to RD, but he didn't take the bait, unfortunately. So do we want to take one each, or
Yeah, but now you got a woman involved, so
well, there's always some downsides, I suppose. I know at this age you should
I
you
made a
should try
dirty joke.
Well, most people would be aroused by that. I think. So what should we do? What does everyone want to do? Does everyone want to read one, or?
I don't care.
Okay. Well, I can tell Unknown is just about to noose himself to death.
I'm about to read this Power Rangers Battle for the Grid.
Oh, he wants that one. Okay. Well, would you like to do the first one then, Mindy? Far Lone
Sure.
Sales.
Let's see. Far Lone Sails is a vehicle adventure game. In a unique vehicle, you travel across a dried-out ocean following the tracks of a once thriving civilization. Through an array of roadblocks and through hazardous weather, you need to keep your vessel going. Where will this journey take you? Are you the last of your kind?
Has anyone ever heard of that game?
No.
No.
There you go.
It kind of sounds. It reminds me a bit of what was that game where you're the girl on the boat and you're going through Submerged? It's like your brother's sick and
Oh, I like that game. You're on the little boat and you go into the little island or the little building, climb them, and you get some collectible. I forgot what it was.
I'm sure I'm super far off of what it actually is, but when I was reading it, I kind of was thinking about Submerged a bit, but with like combat.
Check it out if that interests you. Unknown.
I was wondering what the unique vehicle is.
I don't know. They didn't want to specify that.
Saucer.
Maybe it's like an aquatic car.
Oh, I hope so.
Like a proper, just drive it into the ocean. And all of a sudden, it's you can still drive it when it's in the water.
Well, I mean, there's so many possibilities.
Underwater car. Somehow the wheels still work underwater.
It's why it's good to keep your game description very open and vague, because then no one can query at the end product if you didn't actually meet your descriptors, and I think that's what they've done there. So good luck with that one. Unknown. What have we got next?
Power Rangers Battle for the Grid. It's probably going to be a terrible game. Well, I don't know. Sorry if I'm making questions. But 25 years of Power Rangers. Generations of Power Rangers collided across the multiverse's 25-year history. Experience authentic but reimagined Power Rangers battle sequences like never before. Built from the ground up, Power Rangers Battle for the Grid features traditional fighting game controls. This easy-to-learn but hard-to-master game is designed to welcome players of all skill levels. I saw this list. It was a list. I was just very surprised there was going to be a fighting Power Rangers game. I was probably into it for like a year when I was younger, but like this seemed like a weird thing that I don't know. Is it like still super popular or something? But I didn't know it was around.
I'm not sure, but I can tell now that I can cancel that email I was about to send asking for any sponsorship or free codes with it's probably a terrible game. that is not part of the descriptor, in case you're sitting on the fence about that game.
All right, watch it be like the next Mortal Kombat. It's going to be better than 11.
Well, who knows?
Sponsor us, Power Rangers.
Isn't one of the Power Rangers in jail? Like, didn't he kill his wife or something?
I don't know.
Like one of the Red Rangers, like killed his girlfriend or his wife, or something like that. I have just infinite brain space for useless trivia.
I wonder if that's in the game. Anyway.
Achievement unlocked.
It's like an extra that you can lock in the main menu. They go and interview him in prison.
Yeah. I don't know. Oh, that's scary. Anyway, Sword and Fairy 6. So there's a ton of stacks of this game. I think this hit the list a couple of weeks ago or a week or two ago. So I don't know anything about it. So let's read. Let's educate ourselves. So Sony, Sword and Fairy 6, set in a stunning world of Chinese heroism and fantasy come to life. Embark on a journey to uncover ancient secrets and slumbering beats. In a world torn by warring factions and deception. Freely explore a world of hidden items and abandoned paths. Come on. while customizing your party and weapons to your heart's desire. So this game has everything. That's pretty clear from that. That's fun.
Basically, the generic JRPG or Chinese CRPG, if that's a thing, is what I take from the.
Did you ever find yourself unknown playing a game and you're just walking down and you're like, I'm just walking down an abandoned path? I mean, I don't. Maybe you'll find a hidden item.
I guess I've never thought of that in my mind.
Well, now you can.
I usually think, am I going the right way? No, actually, I usually think, am I going the wrong way? Because when I play those, I want to go the wrong way to get the treasure or whatever is missable or whatever. And
I did watch a little bit of a trailer. It does actually look quite good. It's probably going to be massively long game and grindy as I imagine, but it may be a lot better than we're giving it credit. Mindy, what do we have next?
I got another sailing one.
Oh, you got this one.
Yeah, bow to last captain standing. Become a captain, fly your ship, and command your crew as you compete to become champion in a winner-takes-all reality show. Build relationships and plot betrayals to avoid getting voted off the season and become the last captain standing.
I did not think that was going to take the turn of reality show.
I was just thinking that when I was reading it, I was like, "Oh, that didn't register at all." I kind of, skimmed it, and that did not register until I was reading it. So it's like Survivor. It's like Survivor with an airship.
Hopefully, when you get voted off this airship, you don't get pushed off and thrown.
It's a VR game, so I imagine when you get voted off, you just take the headset off and that's it.
Oh,
you disappear. You're gone.
No, they push you off, and you gotta watch it, man.
You gotta watch it.
You gotta keep the headset on and watch yourself fall.
I have a feeling this Bow to Blood was actually a game last year, so I'm not sure whether this is some sort of a DLC or an expansion as well. But anyway, that may
Bow to Blood or Bow to Blood.
Bow to Blood.
I
don't know. We shall see. Unknown next.
I would say, given that it's a ship, I would say bow, bow and stern.
Oh yes, of course. It would be bow. Whoops.
But maybe it is bow. Maybe you're shooting people with bows and arrows, and that's the plot betrayal is you arrow someone in the.
Oh, I was thinking bow is in bow tie.
Oh wow!
Like you win.
No, I'm sure it's bow.
The host has a gigantic bow tie on while he's on the airship.
Well, hopefully we'll get a code for that so we can figure out what type of bow it is because we really bowed that one up. Okay, Unknown.
All right, Borderlands Game of the Year Edition. Gearbox is announced as bringing the original Borderlands to the current consoles for the first time, and it's happening soon. Borderlands Game of the Year Edition is set to release on PS4, Xbox One, PC on April 3rd. It has 4K HDR graphics, split-screen co-op for up to 4 players, plus a number of quality-of-life updates. Also comes with all 4 DLC packs that accompanied the game originally. Source.
Yes, yeah, we better acknowledge that source from IGN. I know that some of their editors have been accused of stealing things, so I don't want to be accused of stealing something from them down the track. So Borderlands, is that a game that interests either of you? Have you played that game?
I played 1 and 2. I think I kind of liked it at the time. I mean, I don't know if I'd want to play it again. If it was co-op or something, but I'm also not a super big first-person shooter fan, so.
Mindy, will you jump on board? Have you played this before? Or
I played Tales from the Borderlands. I actually enjoyed that one a lot. But this falls under first-person shooter, which means I am not going to be good at it. But I have always liked the idea of Borderlands. I like the world building I've seen of it. And I have watched not like Let's Plays, but I have watched just kind of clips of people playing it, and I'm like, if I was any good at first person shooters, I'd probably be playing this. I do have a friend who has all of them, and there's one, and he really loves the series, but there's one he vehemently does not like, and I cannot remember which one it is.
I heard a lot of people don't like the pre-sequel.
That might be it.
It might just, I mean, I haven't played that one. I can't tell you if it's better or worse than 2. It might just be more of the same with less story or something, which makes it feel dull. I don't know.
Well, this is I think Borderlands 3 is on the horizon. I think so. It's a good hype.
Yeah, I saw an announcement for that today. It's probably related to this.
Yeah,
I'm guessing this announcement here.
Yeah, cash in while you can. Yeah, perfect. So the next one, Sorcery. So I'm not sure, that's an interesting name, interesting spelling too. Players must race to gain control of the arena's ball to fire away at their opponent's runes. The sorcerer with the most runes at the end of the match will be crowned as the victor. Before facing off, magic wielders must choose from a diverse selection of spells that can be used to alter their running speed, create barriers, and more. These offensive and defensive abilities can be used to secure the lead or save your team from near defeat. With simple-to-learn controls and deep mechanics, Sorcery is built for players of all skill levels and a natural fit for both friendly gatherings and competitive tournaments. Match rules are fully customizable, allowing creative players to select the layout of the arena as well as modify the physics of the ball and players' abilities. Sorcery also boasts 4 distinct modes for those that want to get straight into the action. I don't know which mode you'd want to play first, but
Very sophisticated reading there, CJ.
Well, it's an interesting. It sounds like it's some sort of advanced soccer or something. So it doesn't.
He's trying to get review codes.
No,
Just let him have this.
I'm just trying to figure out how you came up with that name. Like you had a few drinks the night before, or you just spell check went badly. Or I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Typing down a little.
I actually Googled this while you were reading it because I was wondering if it was a pun, like if score was a rune. It's not, but it is.
Oh.
It is the way the word. It is the word score, like SCORE. It's Czech, so that's probably where the developer is from.
This comes across as a poor man's Quidditch. Maybe they couldn't get the rights to Quidditch.
And it really is supposed to be like score SCORE, Surrey, and it's a.
Well,
pun.
it's clearly worked, as you can tell. So that was very clever.
The word just looks so weird.
It does look strange. It's off-putting.
Looks like that Pokemon. I can't remember his name though. Begins with SK.
I always found it interesting. 4 distinct modes for those that want to get straight into the action. If you just wanted to get into the action, wouldn't one mode be enough? Would you need to think about all 4? I don't know. Perhaps you would. I don't know.
You just click quick play. It auto matches you with the.
I don't know. Who knows? I wonder if that'll be like a.
That would be the fastest way into the action. But...
Yeah.
So they're trying to do a Rocket League with spells.
Yeah, it's got that feel to it. So I don't know. I mean, that could be something to watch. Now, full disclosure, listeners. So I put this list together before the PlayStation drop comes out. So if you listened last week, I think we read 9 games, which I think was more than enough, to be honest with you, for the week. But it turned out that there was actually 30 games or something released last week on the drop. So that's why there could definitely be more games coming out next week. In fact, I'm sure there will be. But these are the ones that we've managed to source for this week. Probably the biggest ones, I think. But then, as I said, there's probably many indie games that will come out as well. So that's why we don't have coverage of everything. So we'll just touch really quickly, because I do want to get into the topic, just really quickly on the state of play. For Sony, if you're a trophy hunter or if you have much interest in general in Sony, you may have come across this earlier in the week, on Tuesday, I believe it was. So it's Sony's probably answer to not doing any more press conferences, whether it be for this year or perhaps even indefinitely into the future, no longer being part of E3 at the moment. So it was basically, I don't know if Mindy or Unknown had much time to look at it, so we'll just really briefly go through. But it was basically just an exercise in, appeasing the people that have bought VR. I think there are a lot of VR.
I was going to say, if you like VR, maybe you like this.
A lot of VR games announced, yeah. I mean, like just reading,
90% VR.
Yes, I think almost, yeah. I mean, some of the titles are Mini Mech Mayhem, Falcon Age, Jupiter and Mars, Trover Saves the Universe, Everybody Golf VR, that will be cool if you like Everybody's Golf, Table of Tales, Vacation Simulator, so I assume that's by the Job Simulator people, that could be good, and Five Nights at Freddy, Help Wanted. Now, this is a fantastic jump scare simulator, if ever there was one. Do you reckon you could try that, Unknown, in VR?
I wouldn't play hardly anything in VR.
I watched a trailer for this, and I think it would be very. I think the last thing you need is a pitch black and then something suddenly appearing screaming in your face in VR.
Is it? Sorry, I missed it. Is it a Five Nights at Freddy's port, or is it a new game? Because that's one series I've been surprised was never ported on PS4. Was Five Nights at Freddy's?
I think it's a reimagining. So it's the obviously the basic game, but sort of modernized. and
Mhm.
adapted for VR. Yeah, so it seemed very heavily jump scary in VR.
Well, wasn't the original game didn't have much first person stuff in it? Weren't you just in like a security booth and there were TV
I
monitors
think
and
Yeah.
so.
stuff?
Yeah, the trailer shows you
It
in
wasn't
corridors
really.
and stuff too. So maybe it's a bit more in this. Maybe there is moving around. I'm not sure, but
I mean, I don't know. Maybe you might have had to leave that security booth to do things. I don't remember.
I'm not sure. And then just throwing some other things out there. We've got Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled, which that is just a straight PS4 game. Iron Man Marvel VR, which I did not find impressive at all. The trailer, I think it looked like an early VR game.
I heard people were disappointed. They thought it was an actual Iron Man
It's
game.
really funny that they started the
Spider-Man-ish sort of
the
deal.
video conference or whatever you call it, because the first 2 minutes or so with that game, and 90% of it down the bottom, it was like not in-game footage or not gameplay footage. So they were just running it on most likely a high-end PC, and just beautiful cutscenes. And if the presentation is going to be that short, you think you would just focus more on the game itself. But then the bits of the game they showed, it really didn't look that interesting. So maybe that was the decision. A couple of things that possibly interest you if you're a VR holder is the Blood and Truth by London Studio. So they're the people that did the PSVR worlds. That sort of it wasn't a demo disc, but in effect those short little titles or whatever. And they did the Heist one. So this looks like a more fully fledged VR game. Now one of the few fully fledged games they showed in this that does look quite good. The Observation VR looked very interesting. A thriller set on a space station where you're not on the space station, you are the space station. So that did sound pretty cool. Evil computer gone mad. And then this.
So it's 2001, but you're Hal.
Yes. Well, almost exactly that, I think. So it looks like a more fully fledged game. So by that I mean, you can move around and stuff in VR. You're not sort of locked into, a cockpit or something like that. So there might be something to that. And then this Concrete Genie, which I don't know if either of you have heard about this game. I hadn't until it came up. No, I would definitely recommend.
I don't have a VR, so this was not something I paid attention to.
No, so this game will be for PS4, not necessarily VR. It will have some VR content included, so that could be very little. Obviously you play the game on PS4. You don't need VR for this, and it looks sort of like a cross between some sort of a walking simulator mixed with an artist's paintings and all this sort of stuff, and beautiful music in the trailer, beautiful concept, beautiful animation. So that could be worth checking out. And then just your standard big hitters, the Days Gone and Mortal Kombat 11, which grace us very shortly. But I know, Mindy, you mentioned how many.
You left out like the best
one,
thing
sorry?
that they showed. Ready, Set, Heroes.
Oh, sorry. Do you know about that game? I don't know about it. So
no, but it was like, I don't know, it was the most because Crash Team Racing, like probably the best one on the list. But I heard of that, or at least Ready, Set, Heroes was something I hadn't heard
yes.
of. I do like dungeon crawlers and stuff like that. So, but
it just seems they showed a bit of it. It did sound interesting in that you're a team of 2 or 4. You can play online or local, and you're actually you're playing against another team you can't see who are running the same dungeon at the same time as you. So it's a bit of a time sort of thing, how quickly or skillfully you can get it through, and then how skillfully another set of I assume human players would do the same challenges at the same time.
Yeah, the only I feel like this concept does not work. It's creative to me. I just feel like it's not going to work, because isn't it just who can rush to the end of the dungeon, like just run through all the monsters first? Unless there's
it might be a point-based thing.
Kill them first. But the only way that the fight at the end, it's either going to go one of two ways, because you're apparently stronger if you get to the end first, unless they do it somehow like the more enemies you kill, you also get experience that way or something, get stronger that way, maybe. But I could see 2 outcomes where, one, you're just so overpowered that's just like it. It's just whoever can get to the end. And in which case, what's the point? Like if you beat them by more than 30 seconds or whatever, or distance they have left, and it's just, there's no hope. Or, because actually at that point, you would have to win with that disadvantage, you would have had to be pretty good to get to have to be like good enough to get there first. So then it's just going to be lopsided, in which case, why even fight at the end? Or it's not matter at all, basically, because there's going to be
Mm.
hardly any difference, and it's just going to end up being the fight at the end. I feel like it's going to be one of those two outcomes. I could be wrong. They could have some different thing in there, but
I don't know. I just games like that, they really require a decent, group of people playing, like a big player pool, to make it interesting. And I just wonder,
unless you can play against bots.
I'm sure that'll be an option, but just with so many games coming out, you wonder how games like that, whether they'll attract that size, a large number of players.
Yeah, probably hardly anyone will play it. Dead online.
Yeah. So I don't know. I
Me too.
know. Overall, this was a very unpopular move, but to be honest, I don't find it to be a problem. I actually appreciated that it was short. I think some of these things go on way too long. So a short bang bang bang.
Short. It was like 20 minutes.
Well, I mean, it could have been an hour. Their conferences are usually an hour.
Well,
or
then
more.
it would have been a conference.
Yeah, but
no, I thought it was just like the way the lady was talking and stuff.
Mm.
Like some of the trailers were like what they would show at like a conference or a show, where it would be, because it almost felt that way for some of the games, like the Blood and Truth one, where if it was in some theater and the lights were dim and stuff, this is where this trailer would fit. But it was just like felt out of place. I mean, I don't really get too excited by trailers because usually the game doesn't turn out to be anything like that.
Yeah,
it just felt weird just watching that there. And then that lady talking, it was just, I don't know, not monotone really, but just a very boring way to go through things.
Yeah, almost like a computer. Yeah,
it's probably the same thing every time. Yeah,
I think you're going to have to get used to it because they're obviously going to continue this path for this year. So, I mean, I think, I know there's, like I was looking, there's 25k downvotes at the moment on it, as opposed to 8.6 up, whatever that means. It could be the same person pushing it 25,000 times. Who knows?
Nintendo Directs are better.
Well, I think I think it's good.
I am excited for games for Nintendo Direct, and I don't even play Nintendo.
Yeah, but this year, I mean, what does Sony do? They don't have anything massive coming out on the horizon. I mean, I think getting out of Microsoft way is a really good move, because I think, last year their conference was an egocentric or wank fest, to be honest, I think, in the way they did it. And, they didn't have much content last year, but they strung it out in such a way. And I think this year they would have got buried by Microsoft, clearly, just, with what's happening. So, they're leading. They don't need to compete. They don't need to do anything. They've sold all the systems. They have the saturation. So, wait till next year when there's more coming out. I respect that. I think that's good. And there's a ton of stuff to play anyway, so it doesn't really matter, I think. But, it's interesting. We should have briefly covered, and we sort of have. But anyway, moving along, shall we have a look at these spam games of the week?
Oh man, spam of the week.
I have one for you, and I I just wrote a guide for it.
Yes, please.
It's that when bees make honey, something like that. What is this damn game called?
I think it's when bees make honey.
Is it When Bees Make Honey? It's like 12 trophies. They're all gold. They're all story related. You'll get you get the platinum in like an hour.
So you almost don't need a guide for this. Is that what you're saying?
It's you kind of don't. I did it just because it is technically a puzzle game, and the puzzle is kind of figure out what to do. I shouldn't. No, you know what? I lied. There's like 2 missable trophies, but they're super easy to figure out just based on the trophy description.
Well, as long as you look at the trophies.
The trophies aren't even up yet, but it is a platinum. It is like 12 gold trophies and a platinum.
Perfect. And that's quite reasonable at $13, I think, somewhere in that vicinity.
Is it $13?
Australian, so probably whatever that is in US, probably under $10.
Yeah, I think it's around 10. It's not terrible. I was not a huge fan, but it's a very easy platinum, and I think a lot of trophy hunters will have it on their list.
We'll jump on it. Do you see anything unknown? Are you looking through?
Well, we have this Metagal, which has 300 and some owners already, and
I thought you were going to say 300 stacks.
No. Innocent Memories Off game, another one of them. We got... Yes. Yeah, that one's going to be, I'm sure, very easy. The other Memories Offs are easy. We got the new Destronaut coming out. The Zero Tian Invasion. Well, I mean, look at the list.
Yes, yeah, I haven't looked.
It's even called plat. Well, no, I was thinking energy invasion there. I am 99% sure Rat made this as well.
Which one? Sorry, which one?
Zeroptopian invasion. Zero.
It's a good name.
Isn't that kind of like the Destronaut? That little like alien on top of the words. Isn't that kind of like the Destronaut?
Possible. I think Mindy actually has another one. She's trying to hold back from us. She doesn't want us to know about this. Your toy.
Oh,
Would you classify this as spam?
Yeah, I did yesterday. I wrote a walkthrough for that. I wanted to like it. It's a room escape game. I like room escape. It's supposed to be a horror game. I don't think it's scary, but yes, very very easy platinum to get. However, unlike the honeybee one, almost all the trophies are missable, and there's no chapter select, so it's like an Artifacts Money game. It's if you don't get it the first time, you gotta start over.
How long is it?
Not long, half an hour, maybe 2.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty quick.
I see we're getting The Walking Dead, the final season disc version. Fantastic. So that's now up to 3 stacks.
Jeez.
And that's NA, so I assume there'll be an EU, so we'll be up to 4 for that.
Probably. So if you have 4 PS4s, you can do them all at the same time.
You can do them all at the same time. That's right. Why not? Cash in there.
Crocs World 2 again. Did we get Crocs World and then Crocs World Run?
Yeah, this Crocs World.
I think we got Crocs. Actually, if you click on this, well, it could just be their image there.
Is it not just the same game and tore it into 3 pieces?
Could well be. Might just be the same level.
Well, I don't know. I didn't play Crocs World Run though.
I've only played one of them. I played Crocs World 1. Crocs World, I believe, is the one I played.
The list for this looks exactly the same. Finish World 1, finish World 2, finish the first level, and finish a level with 3 stars. That looks very familiar.
Well, at least the trophies are right this time. They're gold for finishing the levels, not for 3 stars. They fixed that up. That's something. Croc is back for a sequel, indeed.
Yeah, we got.
How about this game Sun? Did you mention that one?
No, not yet.
It's got 4 trophies. One guy did it in an hour.
You have to complete the game at least.
There seems to be quite a lot this week, actually. When you
there's a bunch of VNs.
Yeah.
There's like 5
I mean,
VNs.
this is the week to hit your 50 platinums in a week for sure. In a couple of hours. Excellent.
The Voice.
Oh, the German Voice.
Getting more stuff.
Get your fans ready for The Voice, huh?
And a French version too.
Mm. Yeah. Look, we're going to be busy. Yeah. I don't know. We'll have to see. So, what are you perhaps not spam? Like, what are you going to be playing this week, Mindy? What are you looking forward to?
I'm back in my backlog, man. Like I said, I'm coming up on my 20,000th trophy and my 450 platinum. So my focus right now is finishing up Castlevania Requiem, so I can prepare it to pop the platinum. Play Undertale, so I can prepare to pop that platinum, and then just fill it in with trophies until I can hit my numbers.
Excellent. So a good mix of spam and quality. I like it. Unknown, what are you what are you playing this week? What are you looking forward to?
I was gonna finish Word Search.
Yeah, sure.
Masquerade, whatever, however you pronounce that, and maybe start the Messenger because.
Oh, nice, the Messenger.
Is that Ninja Gaiden looking one?
Yeah, where you get like. I didn't look like too far into it. Like I think you get like power ups and stuff too. You can also play it twice.
It's supposed to be exceptional game. It's been out on the Switch for some time. I think so. I think we're all going to be pretty busy.
Wait, what are you playing, CJ?
Well, I wasn't going to mention this, but I sort of, I need goals and deadlines. I spent most of this week playing a horse simulator. I'm not sure why, but just as a side point, that there's another game where the list has not come out. But if you're interested in File App, the horse challenge, it does have a platinum. It is pretty easy. It's long. It'll be like 20 hours with all the race, and it's basically a mobile game put onto PS4. But if you like horse racing games and betting games, it's fantastic. It's there's not a lot in that stuff for PS4, so I'll probably finish that. I'm almost finished it now. I think a few more hours, and then what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and finish this Kingdom Hearts 3 business.
No, you're not.
Because we've sort
you're
of
gonna play like one world.
Well, no, I am.
Heck with it.
No. It's gonna be painful. But I thought what might be lovely is because it's a big milestone for you. And look, if I manage to finish that, that'll be a massive milestone for me. Then, and I'm not talking about platting. I'm just this story, obviously. I thought we could have an episode on Kingdom Hearts, and I've managed to source a Kingdom Hearts expert. So hopefully in a few weeks, I think we put a date on it. I'll have finished it, and you'll be up to about 1,500 by then, and we can just have a massive, Kingdom Hearts-a-thon. Whatever else. So I have a goal for myself. So I will try and play that.
I'll probably feel like an idiot compared to this Kingdom Hearts expert.
Well, I don't know anything about it. So my first.
I can't explain every aspect of it.
Well, I hope so. Starting off with Donald Duck, but I'm looking forward to that. But also, I'm going to play Sekiro as well, because that game clearly is a game that was never made for someone like me, and it's clearly asking to be played the first 5 minutes of before I throw.
By the odds.
There's a high probability I will throw the controller out the window in the title screen, but we'll see what happens. I'm looking forward to that. So there's a ton of stuff.
Gosh, this title screen is so hard.
Well, I'll push this X button to keep moving. No, I can't do this. I don't know what's going on. These Souls type games. But anyway,
the point is, it was money well spent.
It's always money well spent, isn't it? And to be honest, maybe that first 5 minutes is the best part of the game. It's I'll never know.
You never know. You never know.
I'll never know. That's true. So we'll go from there. But look, I want to thank both of you for being on today. It's been a fantastic episode. It's very interesting, as always. Especially, I'd like to thank themindisacity, not only for her wonderful guides, but also for her enlightening and educational talk today. Where can we find you, Mindy? Do you want to do a little self-promotion?
I don't have a huge social media presence. I do have a Twitter. It is themindisacity. I don't really go on it much. Like I said, I'm over at PlayStationTrophies.org, so you can shoot me a message on the forums there. Other than that, that's pretty much it. I don't have a video channel. I don't have YouTube. I don't have YouTube. I don't have a YouTube channel.
There's nothing wrong with that. And Unknown, where can we find you this week if we're looking?
Twitter, Mr. Unknown65, and Twitch, Mr. Unknown65.
Excellent. And I'd just like to round us out today. I got a lovely message from Sprunky90. That's a nice PSN name. Very early this morning. And he just said that he was really enjoying the podcast. He'd only just stumbled across it the other day, and he'd actually marathoned all the episodes to catch up. So I want to apologize, because I can't imagine anything worse than listening to my voice for 8 hours or something in pieces. So you've done a fantastic job. If I had a prize to give you, I would. But, I'm glad that you reached out for us. I also...
You're giving him a prize of another episode.
Yes, we've got even more listening for you, and now 2 hours behind again, or possibly more with that. And I did take into consideration your topic. I think it's a fantastic one, and we will definitely get to that one. So thank you. If anyone else wants to reach out to me, it's probably easiest to do it via email at push2plat@gmail.com, or you can reach us in the comments on YouTube as well. We're on YouTube, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, and possibly a few more places to come in the next few weeks. So thank you for staying with us today. It's been a lot of fun, hopefully for all of us. I'd like to thank Mindy for joining us.
Thank you.
Not a problem. And I'd like to thank my co-host, Mr. Unknown, for again tolerating my shenanigans as we go along. Thank you, sir.
Yep, have a good...
And for straight up listening to me and CJ just talk at each other for like 20 minutes.
It's fantastic, isn't it? Yeah. Well, I think the listeners are getting used to me talking a lot and really saying nothing. That seems to be my forte. So once again, thank you for joining us. We will be back next week. And until then, happy trophy hunting. See ya.